Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Green Square Talks Battlebots podcast. And Seth's
What's
back,
up? What's up, crackers?
Oh gosh.
Welcome to BBBN's Takeover of Greens podcast.
Yo.
Anyway, I'm here with BBBN, Captain Mantine, Civilian Arc, Blaze Gaming, and Smurf. So, how's it going, all of y'all? Even though we've heard from most of you.
I'm playing Kirby.
I'm gonna guess
Forgotten Land right now.
I'm gonna guess good. So anyway, this is our episode 3 review of the 7th World Championship of Battlebots, where we are going to discuss all of these fights one by one and share our thoughts and opinions on them, basically, similar to all our previous episode reviews. So, yeah, just as a warning.
Whoa. All of them?
Yeah, all of them. But yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
Basically, what I will warn you before we get started talking about Death Roll and Cobalt, there will be spoilers in this as usual. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, I would highly recommend checking it out before looking at this, because we will be talking about a lot of this stuff. And well, Blaze, if you haven't seen the episode yet, how about you hop off the VC then, because there will be spoilers. So.
Bro, I've seen the episode.
Yeah, I know you have.
He will formulate his opinions on the episode that he is.
Blaze, have you seen the episode yet? If you haven't seen the episode, you should. There's spoilers.
Yeah.
No way. No shit.
But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about fight number 1. Yeah, wish I could have had a better image of this, but this was the best I could find. But leading off the episode, battle between two pretty nasty vertical spinners, Death Roll and Cobalt. Death Roll, first time we're seeing that robot since its Final Four run in 2019, since COVID restrictions and travel restrictions due to COVID prevented them from coming here. But so glad to see Death Roll back, but it got a really tough matchup with Cobalt to lead it off. And I'm going to go ahead and leave the floor to you all. What do y'all got on this fight then?
Cobalt took everything.
No, please stop. No.
Cobalt took everything from me. They took John Maladnik from me. They took Death Roll from me. They took Gigabyte from me. They took everything from me.
Yeah,
I miss my wife Green. I miss her a lot. I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay, bye. Bye, have a great time.
That is a very sad story of a lonely man who got sad over a British team.
Lol.
Not British.
Gonna be me.
But it was great getting to see Dave and Sam back, who are on Team Cobalt and then BBBN. What do you got?
No, it was really good to see them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was really good to see them. I like, the sad thing is, as soon as like Chris and Kenny were like, they haven't made any changes from the robot from 2019. That's like, immediately as soon as they heard that, I'm just like, oh well, Death Roll is losing this fight, and will probably lose the rest of their fights, because like 1 year in robot combat's like 5 years, like in like any other sport, with how how sporting evolves, right? So like, it's to not like upgrade your robot. It's very puzzling to me, in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's a fair point. Blaze, you want to talk about this one? Or Civ?
Oh, I do not.
That's fair. But yeah, I'll go ahead and talk about this one then, and then we can get to talk about their next opponents. But with this one, yeah, I did kind of get worried when I heard about that Death Roll. Like, Death Roll, they did say they made a few tweaks to improve it, but overall the design was about the same as what it was in 2019, kind of backing up BBBN's point. And that does kind of worry me, because like BBBN said, like, that was 3 years ago before that happened. Well, approximately that. 2 seasons ago, plus the 1 year off because of a pandemic, kind of. You kind of get the idea, but like definitely like the sport has been evolving fast, and while I'd say the durability was pretty good with Death Roll, because you could see the wheels are still moving on that thing even when it was stuck upside down, you still gotta say that definitely the technology within these combat robots is advancing past Death Roll, and that's something that's definitely going to concern me. I hope Death Roll bounces back, of course, because
Death Roll's going.
Yeah, it's great to see this robot back. But yeah, they definitely have some tough matchups ahead of them, and it'll be interesting to see how they perform in those. And then for Cobalt, that was very dominant, definitely showing what that thing can do. Definitely the piano keys setup was very beneficial for that robot in order to get underneath Death Roll and just scoop it up towards that vertical spinner. And definitely Dave Molds drove that fight like a pro in that one. And
he knows what he's doing.
Absolutely.
It's almost like he's won. It's almost like he's won Robot Wars in Asia or something.
I am kind of worried that Death Roll is going to go through like an Ice Wave situation where like,
yeah,
it's good, but it can't it just can't keep up anymore. And
yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Worrying.
No, not that.
Yeah, which I hope is not true, because definitely it's still a pretty nasty vert that goes for reach rather than ground game, and it's the durability is still there in my opinion. But yeah, the one other thing I did notice, I wonder if their self-rider was not functioning at 100% in that, because if you take the times they got flipped by Witch Doctor last season.
Last season.
Well, last time they were at Battlebots, it was a lot more efficient than what we got here. Sure, the pulverizer and the rails are kind of getting in the way, but still, Death Roll was just struggling to get anywhere when using the self-rider. I'm not sure if that was because of damage they took from Cobalt, or if there was just some issue coming into this fight with their self-rider. Regardless, I hope they're able to rebound from that, because they got Switchback following that, and it should be interesting. Let's go ahead and talk about their next opponents. Okay. We know Cobalt's going to take on Minotaur, which is a rematch from my favorite fight in 2019. A fight that I almost certainly believe will be a main event, whichever episode that happens. And as I mentioned a couple times, Death Roll takes on Switchback next. And what are y'all's thoughts on those two matchups?
I have a question before I do stuff.
What's up?
Do I say my opinion on the third fight?
Go ahead. Yep. Okay. Unless if you hadn't seen any of either of those fights.
Okay, so I did see Death Roll and Switchback, so I know.
Yeah, Death Roll's fights Mammoth round 3, I believe.
So I'm just gonna skip.
No.
Let's be honest. I don't need to even say my opinion on that.
I'm sad. No.
Death Roll.
No.
Mantine the Aussie kills Blaze's hopes and dreams once again.
Joke's on you. Death Roll's on my draft team.
And then Cobalt didn't see the Minotaur fight, so that's one of the main events that, or not main events, but that'll be one of the rematches that's most deserving of a rematch, because you see a lot of these fights that are rematches that are why is this happening? Free shipping Hydra, jackpot rotator. This is one of the rematches where you're oh, I'd actually like to see this happen again, and it'll definitely be fun either way. I'm gonna place my bets on Minotaur for now, but it could damn well go either way.
Attaboy, that's the right choice.
What?
You're biased.
What? Green?
What?
Green paid Civ. Green paid Civ off.
Green paid Civ.
Yeah, go ahead and believe that.
No, but it's definitely gonna be a fight that's very similar to what it was in 2019. I think there's just gonna be a lot of big hits coming around, and I think the key to Minotaur winning is chewing off those piano keys. Realistically, that's sort of the key of Minotaur winning that fight, because the piano keys worked really well. Piano keys worked great, and saying that they're piano keys, I mean, they are definitely piano keys. It's definitely a different style because, like, most of the ones we've seen, right, are, like, all really close together. Instead of having, like, the the 5 groups of 2, just, like, not sporadically around the bot, but, like, positioned around the bot. So it's a different way of doing piano keys that I think may be more effective in the long run. But that's going to be a fun fight. And then you got I think Switchback and Death Roll. I think that certainly feels like a bounce back game if there ever was one for Death Roll. Like most certainly. So we'll see what happens with that fight.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting.
All right, what do you got, Blaze, for predictions for that?
All right, so Cobalt Minotaur, definitely an interesting rematch. I'd think that Cobalt loses to Minotaur again, but it could go either way, as been said before. And Death Roll Switchback. Well, free draft points. Sorry, Spin.
Fair. But yeah, as for my takes on this, Cobalt Minotaur, like I said earlier, that was my favorite fight of the 2019 season, and I think that one's gonna be explosive right there. So my pick is Minotaur, of course, and not 100% out of bias, but basically,
100% bias, guys.
basically,
It's like
The way-
95% bias.
I think either Cobalt's going to win this on a couple quick shots, because I think if Cobalt scoops up Minotaur, they're just going to go right through that bottom plate, because I'm guessing Minotaur's frame is probably still aluminum, like what it was last season, and Cobalt's just gonna go right through it if they get underneath. Like BBBN said, I believe it was you that said this, the key to Minotaur winning this fight is definitely going to be bend the piano keys upwards, which is definitely possible, because like Deathroll was able to clip one of them in this fight. But
yeah, I was gonna say Death Roll was able to do the front
Yep.
one of them.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It didn't really affect it that much, but if Death Roll could do it, Minotaur could do it, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like that's definitely Minotaur's key to winning this, and I'm betting, like BBN said, there's going to be a lot of big hits coming in this one. Now, as for Death Roll and Switchback, I think that one's going to, because both of them definitely had some issues in their first fight. Like Death Roll, even though this was like Death Roll is going to be coming off of like I don't want to say exactly a hefty repair job, but definitely pretty big. And then Switchback had some gremlins in that one. It's going to come down to like who improves upon that stuff better for this fight, if that makes any sense. And I'm leaning towards Death Roll on this one. I think Death Roll is going to clap Switchback, just because I think Death Roll is the faster and more maneuverable robot between the two. But Civ, you were going to say something?
Nah.
Okay. Anything else on this, or should we move on to fight number 2? Fight number 2 it is.
Mammoth beat Cobalt. That's all I'm gonna say.
You were never even there. Oh, on God.
He watched
I watched the fight. Though.
Yeah, I was gonna say he watched the video. So
such a bandwagon.
I watched the videos.
BBBN, holy crap!
I can confirm he watched the video. He did it in a VC last night.
Wait, you guys were watching that in the VC last night? That's what y'all were doing?
Bro,
I watched only that fight.
Oh, only that fight? Gotcha.
Bro,
that's so funny.
We just need to like watch old RA2 fights and vibe.
Sure.
I can make you watch Duck versus K2 versus Railgun Max versus Minotaur.
that is up on my channel, so yeah, we're gonna.
You should watch it.
Next fight. Alright, we got Ominous and Claw Viper, and so basically return of Claw Viper for their 3rd season, along with the Battlebots debut of Ominous. Ominous we've seen in other competitions, but this is its 1st season at Battlebots, and I gotta say, this fight went a lot better than I thought it was. I thought this was gonna be Like, I thought this fight was going to be less entertaining than what it was, in my opinion. But when I give you all the floor, I want to hear from Civ first on this one, since I know Civ is I'd say Civ is a little more of a Claw Viper fan than than most of us coming into this season. But I want to hear from you, Civ, just because I think you saw this fight live, if I remember right.
Yeah, so like watching it live, it's definitely a much different vibe watching a box rush like that than watching it on a TV, because you're looking at a 250-pound robot, like a couple, like say like 12, 15 something feet, not that short, but like you get the gist. You see a bot that close to you just go that quick, like that's like a 1 second box rush. It's like there, blink, and it's right next to Ominous's ass, like. And that was very crazy to see, and the crowd was just like extravagant on Claw Viper's control of that fight. It was just an amazing fight to see. I love that fight, and watching Ominous not be able to self-right is kind of funny. No offense, Ominous, but yeah, I think Kevin did some really good driving in this fight. He definitely has worked out all the Claw Viper kinks, at least it seems. So, Claw Viper looks neat. I think it looks based, and yeah.
Absolutely. Blaze, BBBN, you two want to talk about this one?
Ominous is overrated.
It's
Okay.
only had one fight.
Why would you say overrated when it's had one fight and it didn't win?
It's a rookie with one fight.
Yeah.
It's a rookie with one fight, yes. But I was in a Discord. I was saying that Ominous is not going to do as well as people expect. Because I know someone was saying that it was just going to roll over Claw Viper. There are multiple people saying stuff like that. Okay, anyways, on to my actual point. This is like a, it's like a Blade situation. Just because you're decent or good at one competition does not translate to success in another.
Yeah.
Fair. BBN, you want to talk about this fight?
I think here's what I think. I'm trying to find things that I can say that I didn't already say, like in my podcast. I will bring up that I think Ominous is self-writer. You should watch it, by the way. I will bring up the fact that I think Ominous is self-writer, while interesting, is too slow. Because that just gives an opportunity of attack for robots like Claw Viper, who are fast, to sort of catch up with you and sort of still maintain control. I will say that maybe Ominous wins this fight if we're looking at like a 2020 Claw Viper or a 2021 Claw Viper, where I mean it obviously wasn't as well controllable. It wasn't as controllable as this version is. But the fact, like, this is probably the most improved robot Claw Viper. It's like that in the running of like, it's Claw Viper and Huge are like the most improved in my mind, and it was a very solid win for Claw Viper, and it will continue to climb up like the power rankings and climb up like the threat level of Battlebots if it continues to perform like this.
Absolutely. But
The power rankings?
power rankings. But
What?
Power rankings? Yo, power rankings reference, which, by the way, will be in the link in the description.
of course it will.
Oh
be.
my gosh, stop being a chill.
But anyway, though, dang, Claw Viper is faster this season. Like, definitely, Kevin was not kidding when he said that Claw Viper is going to be even faster this year. Like, I'm not going to hold much of this against Ominous, because, like, Ominous seemed to really... Ominous's biggest struggle in this fight, like, was not like the self-rider being slow or anything like that. I think it's more just keeping up with Claw Viper, because I don't think many people expected Claw Viper to be this fast in the battle box. But lots of credit to Claw Viper because like it did take a couple of shots in there and it did take them very well. So like I'd say Claw Viper's durability is definitely a lot better than it was last season, along with the speed. And sad that we're not going to see any suplexes this year because like it was so funny when they grabbed Pardon My French the way they did and then suplex them within a second or two. Even Black Dragon when they suplexed Black Dragon a couple times as well. It was very fun to see, but definitely with what Kevin's going for with the grabber, like the design change they made worked really well because we got to see them get a grapple on Ominous a few times, and it was really fantastic to watch. I will, agree with BBBN that hopefully Ominous can increase the speed of the Self-Rider if that's possible, because, like, just take, like, Bite Force Witch Doctor, for example, in 2019, because, like, if Ominous goes up against a big vertical spinner, that vertical spinner could flip Ominous, and then the bottom, where the Self-Rider is exposed to where that robot could strike and disable it, and that could be the end of Ominous right there. So, hopefully, if that's possible, Ominous can improve upon that, and hopefully we'll get to see it bounce back from this one, because I hope we get to see Ominous do well, because it's a fantastic design, and you don't see many Omni-wheel drive robots, so. Let's get to their next opponents, where Claw Viper is going to take on Ribot, and Ominous is going to take on Shred It Bro. What do we think about those two matchups?
They're matchups.
Go ahead, BBBN.
Claw Viper and Ribot's going to be a lot closer of a fight than people anticipated at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Truthfully, it will be. Like, I think looking at the beginning of the regular season, they're just going to be like, oh, Ribot's going to destroy Claw Viper. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think it's going to be a very close fight.
It's going to be Frog.
Between
my Frog's going to die.
Shred It Bro, Shred It Bro and Ominous is a fight that's going to happen.
That's fair. Fair enough. But Blaze or Sev, you two want to go next? One of you two want to go next?
Let's see. What fight? Oh, Claw Viper versus Overhaul. Claw Viper, I guess. Sure. Why not?
Ominous' third fight is Switchback.
I didn't see the Ominous' second fight.
Oh, that's fair.
Just to spite Pori, I'm gonna predict Ominous.
That's fair. We will get to see Shredded Bro's debut in the next episode when they take on Horizon.
No way.
Yep. That
Holy
is
crap.
in the next fight card based
it's
on
almost
the
like
website.
Peter Griffin from Fortnite. I don't know anymore.
Gosh.
I'm confused. What's going on? Where am I?
Well, anyway, my takes on this, then Claw Viper Ribot. I'm going to predict Ribot goes with the undercutter for this fight rather than the vertical spinner, because I think Ribot's big advantage in this one is it's got a better ability to do damage in this one. And as well, the big thing they're going to have trouble with in this one, I think, is going to be the speed of Claw Viper. But I'm really looking forward to that one. I'm also really looking forward to Claw Viper versus Hypershock, because, like, I'd consider Claw Viper, Hypershock, and Ribot to be, like, three of the faster robots, and so it'd be really, really interesting to see two speedsters going at it in the battle box, and so I'm really looking forward to those two Claw Viper fights. But as for Claw Viper Ribot, definitely, like BBBN said, a lot of people might have been sleeping on Claw Viper until they saw this fight right there. And,
I was.
Oh, yeah, I was too, in my opinion. And, like, I was very confident Ribot was going to take that until I saw this fight. And now I'm a little less confident in that. As for my prediction, I think I'm going to lean towards Ribot on this one. But that, I may go spicy with the prediction podcast when we get to that episode and pick Claw Viper anyway. But holy crap, that's gonna be an epic fight, I think. Now, as for Ominous and Shred It Bro, like, it's really hard to make judgments on that one because we haven't seen Shred It Bro yet, but we will in the next episode, as I said, where they're gonna fight Horizon. But as of right now, like, I'm gonna pick Ominous for this fight, but it's gonna depend on how will the Shredded Bro perform in that fight with Horizon, and how well can these two rebound from the flaws in Gremlins that they look to improve for their second fight. So, anything else? Should we get to fight number 3?
What was yeah,
Grace.
I don't know.
Bloodsport Copperhead. I wish I could have found a better image for that one too, but that's the best I could get. So
That's a great image.
yeah, it's a pretty good image.
Let's
It's a
have
pretty
this
good.
last as long as the actual fight.
Yeah,
Let's have this segment last as long as the actual fight.
I'll let you.
I think it went over the actual fight. Sorry, BBBN.
Yeah, you kind of
Damn
already
it.
did, but yeah, Bloodsport and Copperhead right here. Two pretty big names from a couple for a couple seasons, including Copperhead under a new captain once again this year. Luke Quinn once again running it. Drove Copperhead for a couple of their fights last season, and taking on the new Bloodsport this year. Looking a little bit like Ice Wave, but it's definitely still the really powerful robot that we know pretty well. And yeah, like BBBN and Blaze were hinting, this fight ended pretty quickly. So yeah,
Okay,
I'll let y'all talk about this one.
Alright, I want to talk first. Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, Civ. Anyways, this fight was like 5 seconds long or something, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about my theory that if Bloodsport didn't lose to Whiplash, I think it would have fought Copperhead. Because both of them were in top 3 seeds. Both of them went 3-0, and both of them with a win. It just makes sense for them to fight.
So you're saying is
Anyways.
So what if I get what you're saying last year, if Bloodsport won against Whiplash, instead of fighting Sub-Zero, it would have fought Copperhead, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. I want to make sure I get right, but keep going.
Yep. And I think last season, I think it would have been Copperhead's fight to win still. Could realistically have gone either way, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unlike this time, where it lasted 5 seconds. Anyways, I'm done. You guys can go.
All right.
I think Copperhead is based as always. And yeah, cry about it, Bloodsport fans. Except
like
Pori.
Pori?
Yeah, Pori doesn't have to cry about it.
No, he does.
No, Pori
already has.
Pori's the one.
No, he does, because according to TCC's Pori dog loves Bloodsport, so...
That is true.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Wait a minute.
Anyway, BBN, what do you got on this fight?
This fight is more conducive of Copperhead's power than it is about just like Bloodsport's new design. Like Copperhead, great shot, like great hit that Copperhead had. Like Bloodsport, we still need to see what Bloodsport has to offer when it comes to this. Just when it comes to this season. So the great win for Copperhead. We need to see more out of Bloodsport to see if the design actually works.
Absolutely. But yeah, and so Bloodsport did do a video recapping this fight. I would highly recommend checking that thing out, because they go through a lot on that one, and based off of lots of the hints, it sounds like what that fire was a speed controller, I believe, because like that hit cracked their engine, or not the engine. Why am I thinking of that? But it cracked the weapon motor area, and that's kind of what caused that right there. But
my favorite part of Bloodsport, the engine. It's Ice Wave now.
Yeah, it really takes off after Ice Wave right now, where it separates the weapon with the drive area.
Did they?
Okay, and it also loses
to
a drum spinner.
You just said it. Never mind.
Did they do what? What's up, Civ?
What?
Oh no, I was just asking you something, and you kind of already answered my question.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Civ moment.
I'm because I'm still wondering, like, how that self-rider broke exactly, whether it was because I know Copperhead didn't land a finger on the self-rider. Not sure if it's just like the impact going through Bloodsport so much that it broke the self-rider, or was that possibly just like a bad batch of material that caused the self-rider to break
it's
like
Pori's
that?
revenge.
Or that could be Pori's
Pori's
revenge
revenge.
too, but
Pori's revenge.
regardless, I think there's a lot.
no.
Regardless, I think there's a lot Bloodsport needs. Bloodsport's going to be working on in the pits after that fight right there, because they got quite a few heavy hitters in their schedule, and hopefully we'll get to see Bloodsport bounce back from that. As for Copperhead, Copperhead's looking as dangerous as ever. Like, that drum spinner has been lethal ever since its first season in 2019, and it definitely showcased that very well in this fight with Bloodsport, but definitely wasn't perfect because, as Luke said in the interview, Copperhead had drive issues near the end of it, and I personally did not notice that until he mentioned it in that interview.
Because the camera was on Bloodsport the entire time.
Oh yeah, yeah, and even after that, like it looked like it was driving fine, but it's probably just because Luke is just that good at hiding it. Because like Pori pointed this out when we did the Lockjaw Copperhead review from last season, that Copperhead actually lost a drive belt very early on in that fight on a shot that Lockjaw got on it, and he just did that good of a job of hiding it right there and keeping it as controlled as it was, and hopeful. Yeah, but that's my guess for what was going on right there, and my guess is that probably means that they possibly lost a drive belt or something in that weapon-on-weapon shot. I don't know what it was, but hopefully Copperhead gets it fixed for their next fight. And let's talk about their next opponents, where Bloodsport has Gigabyte.
Can I just say something?
Horizontals real quick? In one moment. And then Copperhead will fight Triton for their next fight. And Blaze, what do you got? And then go ahead and answer that.
It's okay. Okay, so Ice Wave lost to Black Dragon, which is a drum spinner with exposed Brazilian wheels. And then Bloodsport lost to Copperhead, who is a drum spinner with exposed Brazilian wheels.
I wouldn't exactly call them. I wouldn't call them Brazilian wheels because the team designs them.
Copperhead's wheels are homemade with the idea of Brazilian wheels and but they're not Brazilian.
But anyways,
they're similar, but I wouldn't call them Brazilian
drum
wheels.
spinner. They both lost to a two-wheel drum spinner in the first round. That's kind of funny. Anyways,
what do you got for those two next opponents?
Yeah. Well, okay. So Bloodsport's gonna beat Gigabyte because Gigabyte can't drive, and Copperhead's gonna beat Triton because Triton can't drive.
What?
Wow.
It could drive.
It could drive, but like it wasn't that great.
Who knows? But
it wasn't like it could. I would love to see improvement from Triton.
What you got, BBBN?
What did Triton do? What did Triton do to deserve like this rash of a punishment?
Well,
with Battlebots to get Copperhead second.
They're probably.
What do they do? Did it insult its mother?
I think I have the idea for it. It's kind of partly to what Pori explained about Ripperoni getting all these weird ass fights. It's kind of because like Trident's this like horizontal deep six, and they're like, oh, deep six versus Copperhead, deep six versus Trident fighting, deep six versus Glitch. No one's thinking that. Deep six versus Horizon, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I want to see heavy collisions.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, because like they're because like basically I think they were treating Triton as like the horizontal spinner at Deep Six, especially after Deep Six like looked to be like a rising star at its Battlebots Champions run when it took out Huge and Shatter there, and so that's why I was thinking that's kind of back up Civ's point on why they possibly gave Triton several of these big opponents, but yeah. Why don't you go ahead and talk about these then, BBN?
Well, Copperhead, I think, will win it easily because Copperhead has a history of fucking up any robot that is remotely horizontal. So they should win that. Um, and then you got
Terminology.
good old Bloodsport versus Gigabyte. That horizontal on horizontal action. Which hopefully should be an entertaining fight, but probably not because of Gigabyte's ineptitude.
Who knows? Sev, what do you got?
Okay,
Civ.
I'll give my takes and then I gotta go.
All right.
Trident versus
Books.
Copperhead. Copperhead's gonna win that. Let's be real. Trident's washed and it only had one fight already, so there's
You schooled me for saying that Ominous is wash because it only
no.
has one fight, and now you're just a
No.
massive hypocrite. I see that
And
now.
then Bloodsport versus Gigabyte is I'd love to say Gigabyte, but Gigabyte has children driving a full body spinner. I don't believe.
I don't know. You're giving them a little too much credit, honestly.
Damn.
Well,
Right, I gotta hop off.
Said by an actual
all right. See you,
child.
Sev. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, what?
Okay,
Man,
so my takes on this then. Bloodsport and Gigabyte. Basically, that one is a little bit of a toss up, in my opinion. And I think that's going to come down to who can improve upon the problems from their first fight. Because, like, I'm going to start with Bloodsport because we've already been talking about it. Bloodsport's got quite a few issues with basically, like, the durability of that robot right there, as seen in this fight right there. Hopefully, yeah, because Bloodsport's going to need to improve that and build that weapon area and the Self Rider up better so that way it doesn't break in this fight. Otherwise, they're just going to have a repeat. With Gigabyte, definitely the driving was not great in that fight with free shipping. But from what we have heard, they did get quite a bit of stick time in between this fight. And from the sounds of it, their driving did improve past the free shipping fight. So I expect I'm betting we're going to see a pretty competitive match between these two, a lot more competitive than what some of the people here have been talking. But regardless, I think it's going to come down to who can improve upon the robot or the driving abilities in Gigabyte's case better between these two, and that's going to be whoever wins this fight. And my pick for this one, I think I'm going to lean towards Bloodsport on this one, but that could go either way because, like, on one hand, Gigabyte has the design advantage in this one with that cone-shaped full-body spinner. It's well designed to take on horizontal spinners, and regardless, I'm looking forward to this one. Copperhead and Triton. I really want to believe in Triton because, like, I think Triton. There's a lot of big edges on Copperhead that Triton could definitely catch and take apart with the horizontal spinner, but that's a brutal matchup for Triton, and like I think it's just I think what we're gonna see is a near repeat of Copperhead and Fusion from last year. I think Copperhead's gonna dominate, and I was mentioning this before we started recording's content tonight, but I think we could possibly see Copperhead separate the bar of Triton from the body of the robot. Because like one of my concerns for Triton is like I'm not sure about the durability of the frame of that robot, especially that weapon area. And so
that's pretty valid.
yeah, like I hope I'm wrong about that, of course, but it'd be a really funny moment to see Triton's humongous horizontal spinner like separated from the main body of the robot. It'd be really funny to see. But I think that'll be a good fight too. So, anything else, or should we get to next fight?
What is the next fight?
Well, you're about to find out.
Next fight.
Next fight. Next fight.
This one,
Yo,
Lockjaw and Malice. And so I was really looking forward to this one because it's a battle between
this
two
was
big names and two robots who were going to be like definitely quite a few configurations within them, weapon-wise, defense-wise, and all that stuff. So Lockjaw came in with the classic vertical spinner and the butt plow for this fight. Malice came in with their lighter horizontal spinner and wedgelets for this one. And we get a reasonable brawl between these two robots. Some solid moments from both robots, and yeah, what are y'all's thoughts on this one?
Yo, this was like
it was a
top
good
10.
fight.
Yeah, I would
the
agree.
best,
This was a good fight.
the best fights. Probably one of the better fights of the episode, to be honest.
Smurf commenting ass plow in the podcast
Ass
chat.
plow.
Yeah, you can't forget that.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. This
What you gonna do with all that junk in your trunk, man?
Lol. What do you got, B or Smurf? Oh my, what am I doing? What do you got in this one, Blaze? So
Well,
we
you
have
know
heard
what?
from Smurf and BBBN.
Ass plow, ass plow, ass plow.
Yeah.
I don't
But
think he has much to add.
there's nothing to add other than ass plow.
Yeah. I would say this was a really well driven fight by Donald there.
This
Definitely-
was, yes.
Definitely a great job slowing down Malice's spinner with the butt plow, and then coming at the vertical spinner in order to land some hits on Malice. And basically, what it sounds like from Malice, lots of the weapon issues seem to be the operator issues. David Rush was running the weapon this year, while David Lau was driving the robot. So it sounds like some of this was a little bit new to him, at least from what Malice said on their post-fight report. And it seems like he didn't have the weapon going at full speed, is what I was kind of getting from it. And then Lockjaw took advantage and was able to get some hits on the weapon area, which slowed down Malice's spinner at one point and then eventually stopped the spinner. So, I would say Malice could definitely rebound from that, rebound from those weapon issues, and hopefully they do, because Malice is another one of my favorite robots, and they got a big matchup coming in their next one. And yeah,
All right.
Blaze, I see you got something you want to say, so what you got?
For all the people like Mantine who say that Lockjaw is washed, you're wrong. This fight proves it. Alright, Lockjaw is still a good robot. It's not outdated. I don't know what else to say. Alright.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right on that. So I don't think there's really much more for me to talk about here. We did see a near Lockjaw meltdown once again, because we did see the weapon go up in smoke again.
Smoker, so
it did great in this fight regardless. Let's talk about their next fights. We know Lockjaw's a big opponent coming next, and Sawblaze, and then Malice. Next episode, actually, they fight Emulsifier, which is another matchup I'm looking forward to. What are y'all's takes on that one?
It's crazy to think that Malice's two fights back to back.
Oh yeah.
Like how
this
season's
isn't
set
the first
up.
time that's happened. Well,
no, it's not. But you would
feels like it
think that
is.
they would spread it out though. But yeah,
that just feels weird. Yeah.
I think it's different because we know ahead of time what the fights are and what episode they're airing in.
Yep.
So it feels different because
weird.
it's that fact alone.
All right. Anyways, what are your thoughts on Lockjaw destroying Sawblaze?
Well, what are your thoughts, Blaze or BBN?
Did you say Lockjaw destroying Sawblaze?
It would be pretty funny.
It would be.
It would be funny, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
But it would be funny. That's like the only thing that needs to happen.
Sawblaze is notorious for chomping off big ass wheels, and Lockjaw's got 4 of them.
No, Lockjaw's gonna have 6 of them.
Oh, they're bringing back the first version of Lockjaw?
Yeah. Did you not
I
hear?
see. Well, no, the thing is, Sawblaze is gonna I think I don't think this is an easy win for Sawblaze, but this is a very doable win for Sawblaze.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's not easy win at all. Donald is one of the best drivers in the sport still.
Definitely. Yeah, so my takes on these, well, BBN, I don't think you talked about Malice Emulsifier. Although you mentioned quick talk about that.
That's going to be a good. That's going to be a good fight, and is somewhat of a spiritual successor to Shatter versus Malice, because Adam Wrigley, and
That's
it's
right.
still Adam Wrigley's like bot, so it's like a spiritual successor. It's going to be a good
Yeah.
fight. I think I may go with
Go spicy.
with Malice here, just because like we saw how much the wedge got chewed up during the
Fusion fight.
the fusion fight. We saw how much it got chewed up, so I think that'll be a problem for Emulsifier.
Yeah, so my takes on this, I'm going to start with Lockjaw Sawblaze. Donald's going to need to drive this fight perfectly in order to win this fight. I think odds are definitely against Lockjaw on this one. I got Sawblaze winning this fight, but like said, it's definitely possible for Lockjaw to win this one. Lockjaw, we're probably going to get to see the front fork attachments for this fight, I bet, because I guarantee this one's probably going to be a battle for low ground right there, because Lockjaw's not going to want to get scooped up by Sawblaze and take hits from the hammer saw.
Like it did in Battlebots Armageddon.
Yeah, so I got Sawblaze on that one, but it is possible for Lockjaw to take it, no doubt about that. As for Malice Emulsifier, basically, when Battlebot supporters got this content, that is one fight that got my attention when I was scrolling through looking at all the fights that were going to be happening. I'm really looking forward to that fight, and it's happening next episode too, which is going to make it even better. So, I bet Malice goes with the same configuration for that fight than what they used here. Wedgelets and all that stuff to try to get underneath the Emulsifier, make it easier for them to land some huge hits with the spinner. But I think that one's going to be a crazy back and forth fight. I'm going Malice on that one, but it'd be a win-win because in Pori's draft, I have both these robots actually on my team. So,
bro,
yeah, 3 points.
Imagine having robots fighting in the next episode.
Yeah, I have a few. Yeah,
I have none.
Yeah, I have 2 in each of my fantasy comps. But I'm going Malice on that one. But Buddy actually hinted in an Instagram group chat that I'm in with several of the Battlebots fan pages and a couple builders that something's going to happen in this fight. Like I don't really know if I want to say. I don't know exactly.
About?
It could be it could definitely be, but it sounds like something. It sounds like something interesting is going to happen in this fight, and I'm looking forward to it regardless. So, so anything else, or should we get to next fight?
Next fight.
All right, Lucky and Triton. So we get to see the return of Lucky once again. I think this is their 5th season at Battlebots, if I remember right. They're going up against Triton, making its Battlebox debut, kind of like the horizontal spinner Deep Six, like what we were talking about when we were talking about
the vertical spinner Deep Six.
No wait, that's my job.
But yeah, Lucky came in with a thick plow for this fight in order to deflect Triton's horizontal spinner, and I'd say it worked pretty well in this one. And Matt Olson did a great job driving that thing once again. So, how about everyone's thoughts on this fight then?
I think Triton was a little unlucky in this fight.
Unlucky.
That is all.
You're funny.
Yeah.
I know.
Anyway, BBN, what's your thoughts on this one?
I'll tell you what I want. What I really want. I'll tell you what I think about this fight. Okay. This fight was cool for Lucky. It was a cool fight for Lucky, and it did well. Triton did do decent. I think I might be giving Triton a little too much credit for that, though. But honestly, Triton got in some decent shots. Like there was one solid shot, and that kind of slowed Lucky down. Also, Lucky almost did what it did against Tantrum in last season, where it thought about helping out Triton and not counting it out, but then they backed off, which I was screaming at my phone at that point, being like, "Oh my gosh, you're such a fucking idiot! Why are you doing that?" But I mean, that didn't
They weren't
happen.
their mistake.
Very good win for Lucky, I would say. But like that build is designed to take horizontal spinners, and we have yet to see Lucky do good against a vertical spinner. So we'll see what happens whenever
Absolutely.
they face one. Do they face
Have
one?
we?
Yes,
Do
they
face
do.
one?
Cobalt.
And technically two,
Cobalt
Oh,
Credit
okay.
Bro.
but yeah, if you count
Credit
Kraken
Bro.
as a vertical spinner, or at least which it technically is. It's also an overhead spinner, but Cobalt definitely, and yeah. So basically, my takes on this, yeah, like that was phenomenal driving from Metals and in this fight. Box Rush Triton very well in this one, and because like Triton really only got like
Okay.
Triton did get several little shots in, but it only
He's
got
gone.
like a few
We
big.
lost him.
It's on.
It only got like a couple big hits in on that one, and basically. So anyway, once again, great driving by Matt Olson in this one. Box rushed Triton very well in this fight, preventing that robot from getting up to full speed and laying the big hits that we're known for seeing from Deep Six, when Deep Six would hit a robot with that massive vertical spinner, and didn't seem like Lucky took too much damage in that one. Like there were definitely a couple chips in the plow, but that's easy stuff to rebound from, and definitely looking forward to seeing what Lucky could do, because in my opinion, Lucky and Claw Viper were like big standouts in this episode for how well they performed, and definitely I'll be looking forward to seeing those two fight again and see can they keep that win streak going, and could we see them maybe go on a deep postseason run or something. But it should be exciting stuff.
Find out on Battlebots.
Hopefully Triton rebounds back from that, because it definitely didn't seem like it was at 100% exactly, because like it didn't really get up to full speed that many times, if at all, at least. And it seemed like it had a little bit of a slow spin up, which is not exactly what we're used to seeing from like that team with some of their past robots they brought. But yeah, hopefully Triton rebounds from this loss, and hopefully we get to see it land some devastating hits against Copperhead, who is their next opponent, which we already talked about that one. So let's talk about Lucky and Kraken, since that's Lucky's next opponent. We'll see Kraken in the next episode as well, where they'll take on Beta in what should be a pretty entertaining fight. How about we talk about Lucky versus Kraken then? What were y'all's thoughts on that matchup?
Anything? Can we really say anything about that match?
Can we say a lot about that fight?
Sure.
We can't, because we haven't seen the new Kraken yet. Which, by the way, Mantine would say it's washed because, well, Zaza likes it. Hi, Zaza.
Well, I don't think Zaza will hear that, most likely, since I don't think he really watches many of these podcasts.
That's kind of boring.
Unfortunate.
What are your thoughts, BBBN?
I'm agreeing with Blaze with the fact that we can't really tell.
Whoa, this
like
is
the
rare.
Lucky
Someone's agreeing with me.
Kraken fight. Well, no, it's true though.
It's true, but like someone agreeing with me is so rare.
Well,
it's like
yeah,
a rare moment when Civ's actually
but I can't say much. We already talked about Triton and Copperhead. We already talked about those bitches. And yeah, we can't really say much about Lucky's next opponent because we haven't seen the new Kraken. So yeah,
that's fair.
We haven't.
So yeah, as for Lucky
Yo,
and
guys.
Kraken, kind of like what was said here, it's really hard to judge this one just because we haven't seen Kraken yet. Kraken's new this year with the fact that rather than it being a crusher, it's an actual hammer saw this time around. But initially, I'm gonna go Lucky with that one, just because like there are a couple concerns I have with Kraken initially that Lucky kind of exposes. But
That one of
like
them ground game.
no, ground game's not one of them. But then we're gonna see like are my
Right up
concerns
time,
like
question mark?
legitimate or is Kraken gonna prove me wrong about that? Which I hope is the actual case, just because like it's hard to
Kraken's
judge
gonna
it.
go all
So
the way.
Zaza would like that, but
Zaza would love that.
he definitely would like
Just
that.
it's like how Ice Wave's gonna go undefeated.
Yeah, absolutely, sure, but yeah, initially I'm going to go Lucky on this one, but that could very easily change when we see Kraken's fight with Beta in the
All
next
right,
episode.
next fight.
So, yep, like BBBN said, let's get to the next fight.
Next fight. And that's the one fight. It is that one fight.
Yeah,
L
it is
Green
that one
moment.
fight. It was a total L that episode for me because I did get one of my robots got points. So anyway,
Gotta win.
Jackpot and Scorpios. So second to last fight. This one also ended pretty quickly. And
Pretty
what I will
silly.
say, Scorpios announced their attachments for this fight. Like the last minute stuff they added to their robot to protect that weapon, and it worked pretty well for them because they were able to shoulder off those couple of hits that Jackpot got at the beginning, and then eventually that happened, what you're seeing in that image right there. So let's go ahead and hear from you guys.
I'm gonna be real. I really did just zone out this fight when I was watching it.
It was like
Because it like Scorpios did its job. Scorpios did it well, and hats off to Scorpios who
your hats are off.
historically doesn't like vertical spinners, especially ones that have like a lot of reach or a lot of power behind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it like Scorpios like historically has never done well against them, and it's crazy to see that like the attachment actually worked and it did well.
It's beaten some birds at least. It does struggle.
It has, but
like,
historically it struggles a ton.
I would honestly. I would love to see a Endgame Scorpios rematch, just to see if I don't know, man. It would be pretty funny.
Sure. Blaze, what are your thoughts then?
L Green moment.
Fair. Yeah, sad to see one of my favorite robots, Jackpot, lose that quickly, but hats off to Scorpios, because basically their strategy for taking on vertical spinners worked really well in this fight, and we got to see a pretty good moment and from Scorpios. Scorpios did announce in their post-fight recap of this that the smoke we did see out of Scorpios, I thought it was a motor or something burnt out in there. It was just belt smoke once again, which they have had so many times in the previous few seasons. So hopefully Scorpios can work that out. And as for Jackpot, they got to get a couple of hits in, but they got to figure out the self-rider. I'm not sure if it's just the self-rider just didn't have the power to flip the robot over, or if possibly when Scorpios pierced the internal, like, it's possible that the self-rider just didn't have enough power to it, because apparently Scorpios apparently Scorpios managed to go right through that thing, as we kind of saw, because we did see something Jackpot go off at the end of that fight. So yeah, so hopefully Jackpot can work that out and work the self-rider issue out, and hopefully Jackpot will rebound from that, because they got a dangerous opponent coming next. And Let's go ahead and talk about
That's
their next
dangerous.
fights, where Jackpot has a rematch with Rotator coming, and Scorpios will take on Big Dill. What are our thoughts on that one? Or
That's
either of
gonna
those?
be.
I think the Big Deal matchup is one of we think Scorpios isn't gonna do well against Jackpot. Let's give it Big Deal for a bounce back fight. Like honestly, that
Okay, hear me out. Big Deal beats Scorpios.
Sure.
no, I'm not hearing you out on that. You are
No,
high
no,
as a
no, no,
motherfucker,
no,
my
no,
fellow friend.
no. In the smaller weight classes, I know I learned this from Green. So if you want to blame anyone, blame Green.
Of course, you're
Uh,
going to throw me under the bus.
no, no. This is something that I actually learned from you. I forgot who's the driver of Big Deal again.
Emmanuel Carrillo.
Okay, yeah, him. He usually outdrives Zach in smaller weight classes, which I think could happen here. And it would be pretty funny if Scorpios went 1-1 with a loss to Big Dill
Yeah,
and Jackpot Rotator. I want Jackpot to win so badly because I am so annoyed with Fantasy and how Rotator and Huge are like gods of Fantasy. All right, I blame Fantasy. Anyways,
fair. BBN, what are your thoughts on this one?
I think it should be a great fight. I mean, both teams are very good robots, and they are looking for another win. They're looking for their first win, which, like, if you're like Eddie's sports team, when you find that first win, you will do anything to get that first win. So I expect an all-out just battle between these two.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on Scorpios and Big Dill?
Um, Scorpios should win, and if they don't, I will be confused.
Fair. So I'll talk about
What if they
Jackpot
lose?
Rotator first, and
I will
that's
be confused.
that's one where
Interesting.
kind of like what Blaze said. I want Jackpot to win that fight, but I think odds are against it winning that fight. Like,
We wanted to win for different reasons.
yeah, yeah. Like I'm very interested how Jackpot is gonna improve upon the robot base from what we saw from how we saw them take on Rotator in 2020, at least, where they came with their own butt plow config and then kind of got outdriven by Rotator for most of that fight. So it'll be interesting to see how Jackpot prepares for that one, but Rotator is a really hard robot to prepare for because you got to prepare for not just the horizontal spinner but the wedgelets now because Victor Soto's done a great job with using both of those things for their opponents. So I really want Jackpot to win, but I'm kind of gonna have to go Rotator on this one.
All
I
right,
think
I
odds are
gotta go.
in their favor. Oh, see you, Blaze.
I gotta go.
my
Can I
goodness.
really quickly just say my thoughts on the main event and stuff?
Sure.
All right, so Hydra sucks. Rotator definitely won that main event. Next fights, Jackpot's gonna beat Rotator, and Tantrum's gonna beat Hydra like it did the first time. Okay, bye.
See you.
Bye.
But yeah, as for Scorpio's Big Dill, the reason why I kind of support Blaze's take a little bit on him thinking that maybe we could see Big Dill pull it off is I'm
You
pretty
support the take because you made the take to begin with.
well. I didn't accept. I'm possibly supporting it for a different reason because I think Big Dill's going to debut the vertical spinner for that fight, and and I predict Scorpios is probably going to go with a similar config. That does not mean I'm going to pick Big Deal because my pick right now is for Scorpios to win that one. I'd say Scorpios kind of has a design advantage in that one, and Big Dill's reliability, especially at the end of that fight with Hijinks, was a little concerning to me. Which hopefully they were able to rebound from that, and hopefully we'll get to see a good back and forth fight because that's what I'm kind of predicting with this one. I think we're going to see a back and forth fight between those two robots, and it should be a good fight regardless. So, anyway, anything else, or should we get on to the main event?
Let's get on to the main event.
Oh, yeah, which Blaze was hinting about. Okay, Hydra and Rotator. So both robots coming back after a season where they both went pretty far in the bracket. Rotator made top 8, Hydra made top 4. So yeah, it made sense that these two were gonna match
And
up
they both
against
lost
each
to
other.
Tantrum.
And yep, they both did lose to Tantrum last season. And yeah, all right. And Smurf says he doesn't want to talk about it. So how about BBBN? You talk about it.
All right. I came into the. Let me paint the picture for you. Let me paint the picture. You see the fight card. You go, I'm gonna be contrarian. A lot of people are gonna say the Hydra's gonna win this fight. I'm gonna be contrarian and say that Victor Soto is gonna pull like some master class of driving technique and will beat Hydra. Right? That's what I'm thinking going into the fight, right?
Yeah.
To the episode itself even. And then as soon as the intro happened and Chris was like, and it seems that that Rotator is having problems with its robot, and I go, I take a relief. I take the biggest sigh of my life because I knew as soon as that happened that there was no way Rotator was winning that fight. No way Rotator was going to end up winning that fight. And I'm not going to question the reasonings of how Rotator configured itself to start the fight. But in my Ooga Booga caveman brain, I play Robot Rumble 2, and that's only the robot experience I have. It doesn't seem like the best idea that Rotator did to lead with the spinner up top. Because realistically, the first thing that Hydra is contacting is the bottom of the bot because of how it's angled and how Rotator's angled and how Hydra is angled, like how they're both sloped. And uh, I was just like, what are they trying to avoid? What was Rotator trying to avoid? Like strong armor paneling. That doesn't make a ton of sense considering the fact that in history Hydra has had just the entire front fully like armored like stronger against horizontal spinners. So you're not avoiding that. You're just opening yourself up to shots, like to flips, which happened like immediately. I was not surprised that Hydra won at all. I'm in fact disappointed that Hydra won, not because I don't like Hydra. I definitely don't like Hydra, but just because like I was just hoping that Rotator could do something, and that's not what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and so basically, I did predict Hydra to win this fight, but dang, that was a statement by Hydra right there. Like, I thought this was gonna be a much more back and forth fight than what we got, but that was completely one sided. Hydra was just on Rotator right from the beginning of that fight, and while Rotator did have some good moments with the wedgelets, like Hydra did great rebounding from a lot of that whenever he got caught up on those forks. So basically, this fight really came down to two things there. The first thing being Jake Ewart just absolutely outdrove Victor Soto in this fight without a doubt, and the fact that the horizontal spinner just wasn't getting the bite that they were looking for, especially in the upper position, like what BBBN was referencing right there. I can see what Rotator was going for with that because Hydra is definitely a bit more exposed on the top area rather than like the front area that they would hit with if they went with like the undercutter position. But regardless, I think it probably would have helped a little more to go with the undercutter position just to get some more bite in, but not sure how much that really would have affected the fight exactly. So I think Hydra probably still would have won the fight, but I think it would have been a little more back and forth. you kind of get the idea. So, yeah, was once again great driving performance from Hydra, and Hydra's looking as fierce as ever for this one because we didn't see lots of the issues and glitches we were seeing from last season from Hydra. So definitely glad that Hydra improved upon lots of those gremlins that were haunting them last season. So yeah, I don't think there's really much more to talk about with this one. So
this fight just came out of my criticisms of this fight come from anguish.
Yeah.
And disappointment.
Plus,
I'm looking at it through looking through it other than the goggles of sports.
Plus, I was in the mindset that this was going to go
in this fight.
I was in the mindset this was going to go to the judges, to be honest. But yeah, Rotator ended up getting stuck with a fork stuck up against the rails, so that didn't end up happening. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about their next opponents. We already talked about Rotator Jackpot. Hydra has a rematch with the defending champ coming in the next, not the next episode, but a little bit later on, which I think will without a doubt be a main event. So what's our thoughts on that? I think we already know what Smurf's prediction would be for that. So yeah, BBBN, what do you think about Hydra Tantrum?
I think Jake Ewart is gonna be proven right and act like an asshole, and be proven wrong and still act like an asshole.
Fair.
Because he's gonna. I'm sorry, Mr. Jake Ewart, but as much as you think you lost that fight, it's very Cowboys, being a fan of the Dallas Cowboys and making all these statements. It's he has the opportunity to back this up, that he genuinely should have won that fight. He has the opportunity to do it. Tantrum has the opportunity to shut him up. I do think, as sad as it is to say as someone that doesn't like Hydra, that I think Hydra wins this fight because Hydra's coming in with a lot more confidence than Tantrum is. I think that confidence is really big for Hydra, just as Jake Ewart. The more confident you are in yourself, the more sort of aggressive and the more that you know that sometimes you have to get the win in certain ways. But I'm looking forward to this fight just to see what comes out of the fight.
Yeah.
But as much as it kills me to say, I think I will vote for Hydra.
Yeah.
Not vote for Hydra. What am I saying?
Predict Hydra. I don't know.
Yeah, that might change. It probably will change because I don't feel good about it, but
yeah. So my take on this one, Hydra came out with guns a-blazing in this fight and absolutely dominated this fight with Rotator. Tantrum, on the other hand, they got a couple of hits in there with Minotaur, but for the most part, they got bodied by Minotaur and had quite a few issues that they need to work out for their second fight. And most cases, I would go Tantrum, but I'm concerned about some of those problems that they had in that first fight. Of course, I have no doubt they're going to rebound from it because the team has done a great job with putting together Tantrum and definitely improving it upon the issues it's had in previous fights. So I have no doubt that Tantrum's going to have those issues figured out for this fight with Hydra. But regardless, I have a feeling this is not going to be a back-and-forth fight like what we saw in the Final Four right there, unfortunately. Because that's what I really enjoyed about their first showdown, was that it was so back and forth. We saw Hydra getting some good action in. Tantrum got some great action in. It was a very close judge's decision, and I would have been happy no matter who won that fight, whether it was Hydra or Tantrum. As for this fight, I got to side with BBBN on that one. I'm going Hydra for that fight. Sorry,
I don't
all
like
Hydra
picking
haters,
Hydra, but I think it's the right one.
yeah, because definitely I think while Tantrum's going to rebound from lots of those gremlins that they had in that fight with Minotaur, definitely Jake is going to be coming out for blood in this fight, because lots have said he lost that fight just because he was sitting in place and waiting for Tantrum to come to it this time. He's probably going to be as aggressive as he was in this fight with Rotator and try to get on Tantrum as early as possible. So, yeah, no matter who wins this fight, I think it'll be a great match, and I cannot wait to see it. So, yeah, anything else then, or should we close out this podcast? Yeah, so...
Let's close out the podcast.
Yep. Yeah, so anyway, that'll do it for this podcast. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. I'll link BBBN's podcast in the description. Definitely check that out, because it's a small podcast that's starting to grow, and I would absolutely recommend checking that out, because I've watched the first 2 episodes of it, and he's got some great stuff going on that one, and it should be enjoyable to see. So, yeah, and you can also find the links to everyone's channels down below in the description. And yeah, that'll do it for this one. So coming soon will also be our power rankings for this episode as for week 3, and it's also worth a listen. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.